did a poll, actually, on, Matthew's getting a call. Did a poll, actually, on Twitter on Tuesday night after SmackDown went off the air to ask if that was indeed the case. Is SmackDown losing star power? And we got, obviously, a reaction from the audience. 62% said yes, SmackDown is lacking star power, while 38% say no. And some comments as well to go with that, where some people, of course, saying, no, they're lacking good writers and good creative. Yeah, I don't buy into that. It's not all one. You know, they contribute, obviously, but it's everybody contributing. It's the stars, it's the talents, it's the matches, it's everything, including creative. But you made the point about Jinder Mahal. This past Tuesday, I said, I'm not sure if this is working anymore. Especially when I finally figured out that the reason they're doing all these crappy promos between Jinder and, putting Shinsuke Nakamura up on the screen and laughing at him, all this stuff, is because Nakamura can't do a face-to-face promo to promo this match going into Hell in a Cell, which again takes me back to my question of what is so great about Shinsuke Nakamura? I still don't see it. I'm still missing it. I don't understand it. I don't know why people think he is so great, because he can't promo. Nothing, absolutely nothing about his wrestling to me is special. His entrance is cool, but that's 1/3 of what you need. And I don't think he has the rest. What am I missing?
I'm asking myself the same question, and I'm concerned that this is another example of something working at full sail that doesn't work on the main roster. We've seen it with the Ascension. We've seen it to the Vaudevillains. We've seen it to a lesser extent with Bayley. And I unfortunately think this might be the most prime example here, because you're not coming into an audience of 300 or 400 people that know all about Japan and the Indies and this, that, and the other. You've got your mainstream WWE Universe audience. And I went back and watched the controversial segment from last week, and while it definitely hit some hot buttons there, I think at the end of the day, where all this is coming from is they don't know what to do with having Nakamura in just a top of the card feud here, because you're exactly right. You cannot do a face-to-face promo. And I keep going back to, what is Nakamura? Why is the average fan going to be a Nakamura fan? And I unfortunately think the only way, going back in retrospect, to have made this work is making this guy come in just absolutely destroying people, having something akin to a Goldberg undefeated streak, to where, okay, this guy doesn't lose, this guy can't be beat. You had him come in, you had him lose several times, and I just don't know if this is going to get over with your casual fan. And at that point, you're right. You can't put him in a program and have him cut a one-on-one promo. So how, if you take yourself out of your knowledge of him prior to coming into the WWE, how are you as a casual fan going to be introduced to this guy and going to want to see him on a weekly basis? And I think that's what they're up against right now.
And I've heard that argument from so many people on Twitter, at Damian Nelson on Twitter, when I've just simply thrown the questions out and said the same thing I just said. I don't get Nakamura. I don't get it. I don't understand it. I didn't get, and to a degree still don't get, Dean Ambrose either. But at least I can understand Ambrose, because I get him better than Nakamura. But people have said, well, you didn't see him in his New Japan days, or you didn't see him in his NXT days, or he did this, he did that. I don't care about what he did before he got there. I care about what he's doing on a weekly basis to entertain me now. And there's just no sizzle to that steak. None.
Right.
Or no steak
and it's what have you done for me lately? If Tom Hanks makes a garbage movie and then the response is, well, you should have seen him in Forrest Gump, that doesn't do anything for the current product.
No, not at all. Well, we want to hear your thoughts. We ask you this regularly here on PrimeTime, folks. Nakamura, what are we missing? What's so special about him? What's so great about him? And in fact, to give the fans proper credit, a lot of them have said, you're right, since he's been on SmackDown, there's been nothing special about him. Look, in order to be a main event player in this business, I can't think of a time where there was a main event player who couldn't cut a promo. And when I say Nakamura can't cut a promo, it's because of the leg winch challenge. And that doesn't disbar him. I mean, if he was able to better interact and speak better English, I think it would be more compelling. But I can't think of any top star who hasn't been able to talk. And in the case of Nakamura, perhaps the answer is pairing him up with a manager of some sort.
Yeah.
However, James Ellsworth is your only option on SmackDown.
So yes, you are indeed correct.
What if we did do that? What if we did say, okay, Nakamura, you're great, you're awesome, fans love you, and I can't dispute that. I'm not going to dispute that. The fans love Nakamura. So who do you think would be a good manager for him? A mouthpiece, basically. And obviously, Paul Heyman would be a good choice. We're not going to go there.
Yeah. Yeah, out of your current lot of talent, you really don't have anybody. I mean, Heyman is really the only person that comes to mind on the active roster that is in that role, and I think it's a little bit too late in the game, or you'd have to bridge him and Lesnar in a program or something. I mean, maybe before you went the route of 205 and the Cruiserweight Championship, I mean, it's unconventional, but maybe you could have stuck him with Enzo. As I'm just thinking about people that could fit in that managerial role. But, man, you would have to go and get somebody or bring somebody back, because currently outside of Heyman, you just do not have that manager position on either brand.
You're right. I mean, you've got the Titus brand thing, but I don't see how that fits. But do you make a manager?
Yeah, that's another option. You know, somebody that is currently not doing much, that has the mic skills, and I'm just kind of thinking out loud at this point is who you could run with that. I mean, definitely some of your lesser underutilized guys you could put in that position. It's just a matter of figuring out who would work. And my concern with that is, man, it's too late in the game. This is stuff that you do early on. You bring him in with the mouthpiece, and you bring him in as lethal and just absolutely destroying people, because it is that strong, stiff style of his and being positioned in a dominating role, I think that's going to get the guy over, and then having somebody talk to him. And unfortunately, I just feel like you're almost at a point where he would have to go away for a little while and come back with all these things we're talking about, because you decide to just throw a manager on him right now and then try to, out of nowhere, make him this unbeatable force. I think he's got to go away for a little bit and then kind of reintroduce him to the audience in that perspective.
But the strong style of his, I mean, literally, when I watch Nakamura wrestle, I feel like there's someone in the ring having a mild seizure, and they just happen to be touching the other person that's in the ring with them. I'm sorry, that's just what I see. There's no strong style. His finisher's lame. That knee to the face thing, he barely connects, and I get it. But it's supposed to look like you connect. And there's no there. There's every point people make about why he's so great, I just do not see.
To me, his WWE run actually peaked his first night in the company thus far, when he was brought in at that NXT takeover. I don't know if that was Brooklyn or wherever that one was at, but him and Sami Zayn, I said, okay, this is something different, and it was an entertaining match. To me, that's been his top match and his top appearance thus far.
We're live here on the Pro Wrestling Report Prime Time on Blog Talk Radio, Wednesday night, September 27th. It's our last show of September, in case that means anything to anybody. Thank you very much for joining us and listening wherever you are all over the world. Earlier tonight, we were joined by Robbie E., Al Snow, and ODB. Right now, myself, Damian Nelson, and Matthew Thomas, bringing you the hot news of the week. We're trying to get